Hello there, and welcome to today's recap of the Manhwa Legend of Asura, the Venom Dragon. In a nutshell, it's a story surrounding the revenge of a boy, Jin Ja Gang, the only survivor of the White Flower sect from the School of Medicine because his family members were all slain by rival sects. The young man's lonely revenge mission was recorded as a legend in the history of the martial arts world, and it officially began. In a place full of despair and death, with corpses piled up like mountains and blood flowing like rivers, Poison Dragon finally woke up. If you guys can't wait any longer, please destroy the like and subscribe button below. And don't forget to leave your comments down below before diving in to know more about the whole story. Let's get started. The Jianwen period was a tumultuous 4 years for the Murim following King Taejo's death. The story begins in Gangseong province. In the Murim Federation, the leader gathered over 10,000 fighters to combat a mysterious force. His speech was met with praise and cheers from the crowd below. He emphasized the importance of 3 flags, each with a different function depending on their color. The blue flag, coated with poison, indicated areas where second-rank soldiers could enter. The green flag meant that officers beneath the first rank should not approach these areas until they were collected. Lastly, the red flag indicated detoxification was impossible. The leader stressed that soldiers must plant warning flags, even if they were attacked until the bitter end. Just as he finished, a red flag appeared out of nowhere, planted right where the leader stood, terrifying everyone. Who did this? After asking if everything was all right, a man entitled Poison Dragon appeared. He greeted the people of the Murim Federation and taunted them, confirming that anyone who intended to kill him would die. The Poison Dragon, also known as Jin Ja Gang, was said to be the greatest annihilator the world had ever seen. When Ja Gang was young, there was a night full of unexpected events. He was sleeping with his mother when he suddenly smelled a strange odor. He tried to wake his mother up to see what was going on, but she had already foamed at the mouth and died from poisoning. The red centipedes that were responsible for her death were crawling out of her collar. Red centipedes are the most poisonous of all centipedes, and after biting Ja Gang's mother, they turned their attention towards him. Fueled by anger and grief, Ja Gang bit the centipedes with his teeth, but the venom made him pass out. His grandfather arrived too late, but he managed to give Ja Gang a fireball to detoxify him. Outside the house, members of the Poison clan were waiting, led by their leader Manhwa, who was mocking Ja Gang's grandfather for his futile efforts to save his grandson. Manhwa was surprised to see that Ja Gang was still alive, and even more surprised when he saw that Ja Gang had taken the red centipede shells and inserted them into his own leg. The venom quickly spread to Manhwa's leg, and he had to amputate it to save his life. Amidst the chaos, Ja Gang's grandfather carried him to a cave to protect him. He heard that eating the poison sac of the red centipede's owner could neutralize the poison, and he vowed to protect Ja Gang even if it meant sacrificing his own life. The Poison clan eventually found their hiding place, and while Ja Gang's grandfather died, Ja Gang survived. Instead of killing Ja Gang to get revenge for his left leg being paralyzed, Manhwa used him as an experiment tool to test various toxic substances he synthesized. Manhwa would continue his experiments by giving Ja Gang a memory potion and testing different poisons and concoctions on him. He documented the results of each experiment. The memory potion prevented Ja Gang from losing consciousness, making him experience every effect of the poison while fully awake. Manhwa even included the double-pointed widow's spider, which was purchased annually from the Poison School by the Tang House. When the poison entered his white blood cells and flowed through every little cell to finally exit through his little finger, the swelling subsided from the affected areas. While waiting for Ja Gang to recover from this poisoning incident, Manhwa received a summons from the Murim Federation. After he left, Ja Gang woke up. When Manhwa returned, he smelled the scent of poison even before reaching the gate. When he opened the door, he was shocked to find that the poisonous animals had escaped and were roaming freely in the room. Ja Gang was nowhere to be found. He frantically searched everywhere, unable to believe that he could lose such a valuable tool. He noticed that the door to the trash chute was open, so he thought Ja Gang might be hiding inside. However, when he opened the door, bamboo leaves coated with poison flew into his face, causing him to quickly search for an antidote. Unfortunately, he had no idea what type of poison Ja Gang had used. It turned out that Ja Gang had been hiding in a basket of venomous snakes the whole time, and he had built up an immunity to the poison. Ja Gang had used the poison drained from his blood, so there was no antidote that could save Mangryo. As Ja Gang was running away from Mangryo's house, he overheard members of the Poison Clan talking about someone reporting the poison school to the Murim Federation. They mentioned that the General Bak Lee-jung had personally visited them to investigate something. Ja Gang came up with the idea of telling the Murim Federation about the injustice that the White Flower Clan had suffered. So Ja Gang sneaked into the Federation and tried to find the leader of the Murim Federation. While eavesdropping on their conversation, he overheard the leader and an old man discussing the death of someone from the House of Wang, who was killed by the Poison School. Ja Gang was about to report the injustices suffered by the White Flower Clan, but then he heard the old man say that repressing the medicine school was difficult, and one of them had escaped. Ja Gang realized that the Murim Federation was not condemning the Poison School's crimes, but rather helping them, which made him shocked and disappointed because of placing his trust in the wrong place. The next day, the old man organized a celebration for the Poison School. During the party, he received a secret report and had to leave to hear the news from his subordinates. It turned out that Mangryo, who had studied poison for decades, had been found unconscious due to being poisoned. If this was revealed, it would be a problem for them. Ja Gang watched from behind a bush as the remaining members of the medicine school were escorted down to the underground tunnels, which were managed by the poison sacks. They were tortured and beaten for falling behind and moving slowly. When the deputy headmaster of the medicine school fell, the thugs escorting them drew their swords to kill him, but they were ordered to hold back. Taking advantage of the moment, Ja Gang infiltrated the group being escorted. Ja Gang secretly introduced himself to others as a member of the White Flower Clan and told them the story of how he was used as an experiment tool for poison by the people of the Poison Clan. He had planned to take down the 5 guards on the way to help the people on the wagon escape. But the man who had spoken to him earlier cautioned against it, as the guards were skilled with swords and could kill them at any time. Ja Gang revealed his own blood to be deadly poisonous thanks to the cruel experiments of Mangryo. The Medicine Clan opposed this plan because they feared that if Ja Gang failed, they would all die. As they argued, a messenger on horseback arrived and informed them that the headmaster had ordered the wagon to stop and return to the sect. The reason for the order to stop was because Mangryo fainted and one of the captives escaped. Today, 11 people from the medicine school were being transported to the tunnel, but the head guard, Dato, counted 12, revealing that the escaped captive had been there the whole time. He drew his sword and threatened to kill all 12 to avoid having to continue to the tunnel. One of the captives, out of fear, accused Ja Gang as a way to avoid being killed. However, things didn't go as planned, and Dato killed the accuser, shocking the others. They criticized him for treating human life as if it were nothing. Dato retorted that they would meet the same fate. As he finished speaking, the 11 captives jumped out of the wagon, each holding a piece of porcelain to attack the guards. Although the porcelain looked ordinary, it caused those who touched it to vomit blood upon being cut. This made Dato realize that they were being poisoned. Instead of using his sword in a normal manner, he used his sword ki to finish off the man among them. He was about to kill the next captive when Ja Gang, who had secretly been holding a piece of porcelain, appeared behind him. Ja Gang used porcelain to attack Dato at the neck when his attention was diverted. However, it didn't work because Dato had quick reflexes and easily dodged the surprise attack. Immediately, he turned back and used his sword to stab Ja Gang in the stomach. Ja Gang weakly resisted, thinking that if he failed, everyone would die. He held on to his sword. Dato laughed and, as usual, licked his blade after killing someone. He easily slayed everyone in the medicine school, leaving only the deputy head and Ja Gang. What he didn't expect was that Ja Gang, despite being weak, could stand up and count to 10. At first, he didn't understand, but after those 10 seconds, he suddenly bled. He was poisoned, but he wasn't cut in the back like earlier. It turned out that Ja Gang had noticed Dato's habit of licking his sword, so he had poisoned the blade when Dato wasn't paying attention. Dato begged Ja Gang for the antidote, promising to help him to enter the Medical Sect in return. But of course, his words were useless because the deputy head killed him right away. The deputy head temporarily stopped the bleeding for Ja Gang, and the two rode on a horse and fled the scene. Ja Gang felt guilty for causing the death of everyone, but the deputy head comforted and motivated him for revenge. After saying those words, he jumped off the horse. The news quickly reached the ears of the commander, an old white-haired man. He couldn't believe that they had lost the captive because the boss was there too. After hearing that the boss was killed, he became disheartened and afraid that the esteemed lord would find out. However, life is unpredictable, and the esteemed lord heard everything. The commander begged the lord for one last chance to prove their ability, and the lord agreed, but also warned him that if they failed this time, the poison school would have no future. He ran to Chief Meng's place, where he was very ill and laying on a bed looking very miserable. When he heard that Ja Gang had fled from the poison, he couldn't help but scream loudly. He muttered something to the commander, and after a few weeks had passed, Ja Gang had recovered very quickly from his injuries. He felt that now was the time to make a move. He went to the capital city to listen to the situation and find work to make a living. He was shocked to hear that people from the White Flower clan had been arrested and were being sent to the mines in Manhwa to work as slaves. After hearing this, he quickly ran off, knowing that only he could save them now. In the tunnel in Manhwa, the commander was very anxious because Ja Gang hadn't shown up yet, even though he had followed Chief Meng's advice to use the people from the White Flower clan as bait. Chief Meng was even more excited than anyone else. He was the one who wanted to tear Ja Gang apart, the one who had taken away his leg and even his eye, causing him the most pain. Ja Gang arrived at the tunnel where he saw some familiar people from the White Flower clan. However, there were more guards than he anticipated, and he couldn't handle them all alone. So he started a massive fire in the storage room to divert their attention. This allowed him to sneak into the tunnel and reunite with the White Flower clan, who were delighted to see him alive. Ja Gang proposed to help them escape using the poisonous substances he had. Meanwhile, at Chief Meng's place, he realized that the fire was not a coincidence and suspected that Ja Gang was hiding in the tunnel. He went there and found Ja Gang discussing an escape plan with the White Flower clan. Mangrio, who didn't want to harm Ja Gang, opposed Wei Zhang's proposal to kill them all. In the tunnel, the guards panicked and warned that the tunnel was about to be destroyed. They instructed the White Flower clan to remain calm and stay put, which was what the higher-ups desired. Chief Meng had rushed to block the tunnel entrance due to a landslide. He yelled in frustration because it wasn't what he wanted. He wanted Jin Ja Gang to die by his hands. Meanwhile, the members of the White Flower clan were discussing the importance of the tunnel to the poison school, as it was there they mined their poisons. They suspected that the landslide was caused by someone from the poison school. Ja Gang thought about the esteemed lord. Instead of waiting to die, the clan worked together to try and escape the tragedy. Unfortunately, luck was not on their side. Digging a way out was difficult, and they had no food or enough torchlight. Slowly, they grew tired. Their efforts to dig each day were in vain as the tunnel kept collapsing on them. Despite this, Ja Gang persevered, never giving up. His determination impressed Elder Gong of the mighty Yellow Clan, who wanted to pass on their teachings to Ja Gang. Others from different clans also wanted to pass on their teachings to him. Ja Gang was ready to accept all these teachings as his life mission was to seek revenge for those who died for him. Day by day, Ja Gang learned the integration art and the art of creation. He tirelessly absorbed the hidden martial arts techniques of many clans, showcasing his incredible capacity for learning. Finally, the moment arrived when Grandpa Gong took his last breath, and everyone, including Ja Gang, cried. Outside, it had been 2 weeks since the tunnel collapsed, and Mangrio was slowly losing his mind. He turned to drinking, hoping that one day Ja Gang would find his way out. Time passed quickly, and one by one, people in the tunnel died from hunger. Ja Gang was the last survivor, surviving on grass and poisoned water in the tunnel. Despite the hardships and solitude, he spent his time training and digging the cave. Years passed, and it was already the 8th year in the tunnel. During the bright moonlit night, a child who had once been on the verge of boyhood returned as a fierce warrior. At this time, the commander, a man with white hair, was leading his troops to murder, rob, and plunder other clans. His ultimate goal was to obtain their secret teachings. After taking the books containing these martial arts secrets, he killed all of the survivors to silence them. Upon returning to his stronghold, he drank heavily and thought about the curses from those he had killed that day. He wanted to absorb and make all of the secret martial arts teachings of the smaller clans his own. The next morning, he woke up to find his body covered in red ashes. When he called in his men, he was surprised to see that all of the guards were frothing at the mouth from being poisoned. The rest of them had similar symptoms, including glistening faces and red pimples. These were the symptoms of cinnabar poison, not the effect of the liquor. The lower ranks reported that this was poison extracted from the tunnel, and there was little antidote available. But who could have done this? Besides the main character, who else could have entered? He was in the forest, boiling a large pot of water with firewood. Smoke billowed from it and behind it. One could see the eyes glowing with vengeful rage. After taking the medicine, the commander and his men went to search for the culprit. They ran towards the forest where the smoke was coming from. Ja Gang appeared after the smoke cleared, and when asked why he did what he did, he simply replied with one word: vengeance. The commander found it amusing that Ja Gang, who was from the medicine school, would do something like this. He even joked that Ja Gang was playing a prank on him by coming alone. Despite praising Ja Gang for burning the cinnabar and targeting the poison school, the commander realized that Ja Gang's fighting skills were surprisingly strong. Even when the group attacked him together, they couldn't defeat him. The commander noticed something odd about Ja Gang's swordsmanship and footwork, which suggested that he was not an experienced fighter. Despite this, they couldn't seem to defeat him. Frustrated with their failure, the commander decided to fight Ja Gang himself. He was confident that he could handle him, but found that his own fighting skills were slow and clumsy. It turned out that the poison contained not only cinnabar, but also green tea leaves. Ja Gang was immune to poison, but the commander's body was slowly being eaten away by the toxins. The commander tried to plead with Ja Gang for the antidote, promising to help him seek revenge in return. However, Ja Gang refused to give him the antidote, saying that he was immune to poison and that he was the punishment for the poison school. Ja Gang arrived at the territory of the Poison Sect and defeated all of their minions by himself. In Ja Gang's mind, he knew that just because the Poison Sect disappeared, it didn't mean that everything was resolved. They were only the frontmen for a corrupt organization. He found many documents detailing the sect's activities and discovered that the shutdown of the mine, where many people in his clan died, was decided by the agreement of all three of the Unma's great poison sects. Meanwhile, Manhwa was teaching about poisons in his classroom and received many compliments from his students. After class, he was summoned by the Alliance and met with the Lord of the Blue Dragon Longsword Sect, Jin Ja Gang, who was also the esteemed Lord from previous chapters. The Lord gave him a letter stating that the Poison Sect had disappeared in one day. The Lord expressed his desire for Manhwa to investigate this incident because the Poison Sect was still very important in the Murim Federation. But it seems that Manhwa already knew that the one behind all of it was Jin Ja Gang, person he mentioned to the Lord 8 years ago. However, the Lord thought it was unlikely that a child who was buried in the mines 8 years ago could have done this. Manhwa wanted to handle the investigation, and the Lord agreed to give him a plaque that holds the same authority as the investigator of the Alliance's main branch. Manhwa rode on his horse to witness the destruction caused by the Poison Sect. He knew that someday Ja Gang would overcome the buried mines and destroy the sect, which is why he left. While investigating the scene, a throwing dart suddenly struck him. The three largest clans of the Poison School had gathered there, including the Iron Umbrella Sect, Darkness Sect, and Poison Valley Sect. The leader of the Poison Valley Sect taunted Manhwa and accused him of stealing all of their money and fleeing. It's unclear whether this is true, but Manhwa's appearance shows that the Martial Alliance is paying attention to this incident. They hypothesize that the culprits are opposing forces against General Li Bake, but if so, they should have attacked Li Ja Gang directly instead of the Poison Sect. Manhwa looked at the corpses and concluded that they weren't directly attacked, but rather were poisoned. The issue was how the poison was used. They inspected the commander's body and the pot of poison that Ja Gang had cooked. Manhwa, with his deep knowledge of poisons, quickly identified the technique used by the culprit. He realized that only Ja Gang would dare use cinnabar poison, and that he did it intentionally to leave his identity and seek revenge. After talking for a while, the leaders of each sect went home. Leader Do of the Iron Umbrella Sect went back to his territory and ordered his soldiers to prepare for the upcoming enemy. Suddenly, a bag fell from above and exploded, releasing toxic smoke and killing all the soldiers. Leader Do's eyesight was a bit weak, but he immediately recognized the figure after eliminating the Poison Sect. The culprit didn't leave right away. He planned to face them all and was waiting for the right timing. In the toxic smoke, soldiers faced many disadvantages in battle. The smoke not only blocked their vision, but also made it difficult for them to breathe. However, the culprit moved very quickly and was accustomed to fighting in the dark. Leader Do launched a needle that hit Ja Gang. He was confident that Ja Gang was just a small fry and easy to deal with. Normally, if someone was hit by this fracturing needle, their bones would melt, and they would experience extreme pain. But when Leader Do approached Ja Gang, who appeared to be collapsing due to the poison, he suddenly stood up and attacked him, leaving Leader Do shocked. Ja Gang even threw the needle back at Do's subordinate, causing him to immediately fall to the ground, shattering Do's doubt that he had missed. Terrified because Ja Gang still had many needles in his hand, Do told himself to try to dodge at all costs. But as soon as he finished thinking he couldn't move and perhaps accidentally inhaled some poison, he had been hit by the needle. At that moment, Ja Gang approached him and said that although those needles possessed great power, they didn't work on him. Quickly, news of the Iron Umbrella Sect being attacked reached the ears of Leader Yuk, the leader of the Poison Clan. He felt uneasy and instructed his soldiers to always be on guard. From afar, Mangryo appeared. Mangryo appeared and said he was there minding his own business. However, his tone made Leader Yuk very angry. To make things worse, Mangryo ordered everyone to die. Leader Yuk couldn't take it anymore and ordered his subordinates to attack and end Mangryo's life to show him what respect was. The scene then shifted to a massacre in an area filled with poisonous gas in the Iron Umbrella Clan territory. The masked assassin was analyzing Ja Gang's skills and realized that his opponent could defeat Leader Do, who was considered a master. While thinking, he saw a blurry figure in the poison gas and assumed that it was his enemy. He rushed forward and attacked with his sword, only to find that he had attacked the leader of the Darkness Clan instead. His actual enemy was behind him and used the skills of the Darkness Clan to attack him. Returning to Mangryo and the Poison Sect in the blink of an eye, Mangryo had defeated all his subordinates without lifting a finger. To Leader Yuk's surprise, Mangryo laughed and said that was the difference in their ranks. Leader Yuk believed that Mangryo had been hiding his skills all this time, waiting for the opportunity to return to the Poison Sect and take it over. However, he was mistaken. With Elder Mang, the only thing he cared about was a single person, the one he wanted to confront all three sects in one day. Mangryo's words revealed that he knew who the culprit was, and Leader Yuk wanted to know the nature of the relationship between the two people. According to Mangryo, Ja Gang was the reason he was trying to overcome the difficulties after being expelled from the Poison Sect and seeking revenge on him. After their conversation, Mangryo and Leader Yuk fought. Yuk thought he had killed the old man with a deadly blow, but he quickly teleported behind Yuk, broke his neck, and sent him to heaven. Meanwhile, Ja Gang was stabbed in the hand by a poisonous dart. The masked person he was fighting was very arrogant and thought he would be at a disadvantage with his paralyzed left arm. But the situation changed when he himself became poisoned and began to hallucinate that Ja Gang was moving very fast and hitting him with many blows while Ja Gang was actually standing still. Realizing that he couldn't hold on any longer, he rushed towards Ja Gang and aimed for his left hand. However, that same arm had already been stabbed with a poison dart, which pierced his heart. He decided to stop and consider the day's events enough, as he was not in his best condition. At the central building, we asked all the workers to gather together to thank them for their hard work. He poured wine into cups and asked each person to step through the main hall to receive their cup and drink. The king realized he had been tricked. To receive his cup of wine, he had to walk 20 steps, and we and the sect leaders behind him would notice his limp leg. The coordinator ordered him to be the next one. With no way out, Ja Gang moved towards the main hall. We immediately recognized Ja Gang as the one. We soldiers attacked him, but Ja Gang quickly took care of them. One of the leaders stepped forward to fight Ja Gang one-on-one. He used the ghastly palm weapon, which could melt down an enemy's skin, and fired it at Ja Gang. Thinking quickly, Ja Gang used a corpse as a shield and quickly counterattacked, stabbing the opponent's hand with 2 needles. We realized that there was something unusual about Ja Gang's skills, as they were far beyond what we expected from the mysterious killer. Jang was then subdued by the leaders and forced to lie on the floor. We used his poison mist to interrogate Ja Gang and find out who was behind everything, but Ja Gang resisted and refused to speak a word. At that moment, Leader Chu brought all the prominent leaders in Unnam to meet with Wei. Chu accused Wei of being behind the recent tragedies and demanded that he hand over the cripple to seek revenge for his son. Wei, in a fit of rage, grabbed Ja Gang by the neck and dragged him outside. Looking at the angry crowd below, we thanked Chu for gathering all the trash he needed to clean up. He said, "I will get rid of anyone who may hinder me in any way." Suddenly, while Wei was holding Ja Gang by the neck in midair, Ja Gang grabbed his hand and forced the poison in his mouth into his left eye, causing him to writhe in pain on the ground. Remembering the graves behind him in the mines, Ja Gang shouted at Wei his true identity. "I am Ja Gang Jin, the descendant of the 100-Flower Valley of Sorrow sect. I am here to take my revenge." As the sky began to rain, everyone was silent in the face of Ja Gang's frightening and intimidating demeanor. Chu was confused and didn't understand who had killed his son. When he was about to enter the main hall, Ja Gang, who was positioned high up, warned him that he would die if he went in. Ja Gang turned to a very evil and vengeful person. Before he acted, he allowed anyone unrelated to the death of the medicine sects to leave the main hall. The leader of the poison sect insulted Ja Gang and angrily began attacking him. First, it was one person attacking, then it became a group attack. Inside the hall, vomit began to leak in. The crowd, who were Ja Gang's enemies, were all leaders with powerful and dangerous techniques. Although he resisted as much as he could, taking all of those people by himself was too much. Ja Gang was eventually defeated and lay defeated on the ground. As the leader was about to finish him off, we realized that there was poison in the vomit. He shouted for everyone to leave, but it was too late. They were poisoned, bleeding from every hole. Suddenly out of breath, he died from the symptoms of snake venom of the soul. In the grand hall, only 3 people remained: we, Ja Gang, and another leader. Confidently smiling, we knew that this type of poison only works if it infiltrates the body, so as long as neither of them gets injured, they'll be fine. But before they could celebrate their victory, the other leader broke out in a red rash and started scratching. Ja Gang had previously mixed in poison from ginkgo seeds coats to create rashes on the enemy's skin, and it worked just as he planned. The other leader died shortly. We couldn't believe he had been defeated by a child, so we used his signature technique to finish off Ja Gang. He shot 100 different types of poison at Ja Gang, such as brain-liquefying poison and lung-dissolving poison, all attacking his body. Ja Gang collapsed on the spot, barely breathing. When Wei was about to finish him off, Mang suddenly appeared and knocked Wei through the ceiling and out to the courtyard. Only at that moment did Wei realize that Mang was the true mastermind behind it all. Wei was angry and questioned Mang about what he had done to the poison sects. Mang recounted how the crippled person had made him blind in one eye, just like he is now. The boy and his whole tribe had been buried alive by Wei 8 years ago. After digging his way out, Ja Gang had become a monster born solely for revenge. Mang was so attracted to Ja Gang's resentment and hatred that he would not let anyone kill Ja Gang except for the despairing death that he would bring to Ja Gang. Suddenly, a girl with a covered face and a large brimmed hat appeared and urged Mang to quickly end everything. This girl was a master from the Sichuan region, and we recognized her inner strength to be 100 times stronger than his. Interrupting their conversation, Chu asked Mang what was going on. To everyone's surprise, Mang admitted to killing Chu's son and revealed that the fall of the ripening millet sect was part of his plan all along. Before Chu could exact his revenge, Mang was able to chop off Chu's head with his bare hands. The angry crowd rushed towards Mang, and then boom, their bodies formed a circle around Meng. After resolving everything, Meng returned to the main hall to save Ja Gang. He inserted a needle into his head and used the deranging meridian unclogging technique to open up the meridians in his brain. He wished Ja Gang great success and said that once Ja Gang reaches the top, he will be the one to push Ja Gang off the cliff, smiling twistedly. The death of the greatest expert, Wei, along with many other poison experts and martial artists from various justice sects, caused a terrible uproar in Kangho. At the Hagwang Castle branch of the Murim Alliance, Meng discussed with the Lord, a young man with long hair, about the right sacrifices for their next plan. Meanwhile, Ja Gang had a long dream about what had happened. He thought he had failed, but suddenly someone praised him for doing well, and a strong power flowed within him. Ja Gang woke up to find himself bandaged and in a strange room. When Ja Gang woke up, he didn't know where he was until his ex-colleague came in. The man had previously invited Ja Gang to stay overnight. After hearing about the incident at the Poison Sect conference, the man had come to bring Ja Gang back home. But as he was leaving to find a doctor for Ja Gang, he suddenly collapsed. Ja Gang realized he had contracted a horse poison skin infection. He thought maybe the man had inadvertently caught some of the remaining poisons from his body while carrying him home. Angry with himself, Ja Gang couldn't let anyone else die because of him. He was determined to save the man. However, the antidote for the poison required ingredients from proper medicine stores, which would force Ja Gang to enter the village, which already attracted the attention of the entire Murim Alliance after the incident. As soon as he arrived at the village gate, his inner strength suddenly went out of control, attracting the attention of two guards. Seeing Ja Gang unable to move, the two guards thought he was defying them and prepared to attack him, but a girl appeared and stopped them. The guards claimed that it was their responsibility to inspect Ja Gang due to recent events involving the Poison Sect. However, the woman appeared and knocked out both guards with a single strike, rendering them unconscious for 2 hours. Her martial arts skills were so fast that Ja Gang couldn't see her movements. She invited Ja Gang to follow her, and given the circumstances, he had no choice but to accept. They arrived at a tea house and discussed the rumors surrounding the Poison Dragon being a member of the Lesser Sect. The Lesser Sect then came up with two solutions: either make the Poison Dragon a member of the Lesser Sect or eliminate him altogether. The woman, named Dan Ryun Kyung, the Maiden of Unfaltering Righteousness, preferred the first option. Ja Gang was surprised to learn that she was the absolute female general and the leader of the Lesser Sects, a title he had only heard from the elders of the White Flower clan. Ja Gang asked what he would have to give in return. She offered to teach him her martial arts technique and provide him with resources. However, he refused the offer because he knew he was being used as bait to lure someone else out, and he didn't like that. In response to Ja Gang's refusal, the lady became angry and threatened to eliminate him. In this critical situation, Ja Gang used his inner warmth to expel the poison from his body and used the 12 needles thread technique to attack this lady. Ja Gang rejected Run Kyung's offer, but Run Kyung said that if he refused, there was only one result: that he was destroyed. Ja Gang activated a poison mist and attacked Run Kyung with poisonous arrows, but Run Kyung easily stopped Ja Gang's arrows. Run Kyung used his hand to squeeze Ja Gang's face and warned that Ja Gang was too arrogant, so he had this result. After a moment of threat, Ja Gang still didn't give up his decision, so Run Kyung changed her intention. She said she wouldn't hurt Ja Gang, and she wouldn't use Ja Gang as a trap as she once said. Run Kyung realized that she was wrong and too hasty to do so with Ja Gang, so she asked Ja Gang doesn't need to cooperate with her, just to sign a contract with her as an equal subject. Run Kyung will give Ja Gang 3 favors, as long as Ja Gang promises Run Kyung something, but Ja Gang didn't seem to like what Run Kyung said. But Run Kyung gave Ja Gang important news, so he agreed to Run Kyung's proposal. Weijong, the 100 Poison Master, utilizes many different kinds of poisons and scents in order to hide his true lethal poison. And the poison that actually threatens one's life is the one that impacts one's heart and stomach and dries their blood to their death. The first favor that Run Kyung repay is the cure for the poison. It's called extracting powder. And the second favor is power, because Ja Gang refuses to learn martial arts skills from Run Kyung, so she won't teach them to Ja Gang. However, she will teach him another type of skill called splitting arrow bullet. blood. Although it's simple, Ja Gang must not get the order of the sequence wrong. And the last favor that Run-kyung gives Ja Gang is information. She says that there will be a lot of people coming to find Ja Gang the way Run-kyung was, and one of them is Jaegil-yeon, who is very dangerous. Run-kyung reminds Ja Gang to prepare carefully because these people are much stronger than the enemies Ja Gang has destroyed. Finally, Ja Gang asks Run-kyung the conditions she wants Ja Gang to agree to. In the future, Ja Gang must spare the life of someone he needs to destroy. Ja Gang, after obtaining the antidote, goes quickly back to save Jang, but he is late. The people Run-kyung mentioned took Jang away. They left a letter, which was a trap to lure Ja Gang to save Jang, and they believed that Ja Gang would come to save his teammates. However, if Ja Gang doesn't come, Yeon will still destroy Jang because this is an opportunity to prove her strength superior to the other competitors. Finally, Ja Gang chose to rescue Yang. Yeon was quite surprised because Ja Gang was very young. Yeon says that they need to destroy Ja Gang because he has destroyed many innocent people. Ja Gang says that he only destroys those involved for the purpose of avenging his clan, and he has nothing to do with the lesser sects, and he has no idea who is behind the massacres. Ja Gang explained that he is a descendant of the 100-Flower Valley of Sorrow sect, and he just carried out a befitting revenge on the 4 great poison sects, who brought the fall of the medicine sects. Yeon wants to take advantage of Ja Gang's distraction to arrest him, but Ja Gang irritates Yeon and angers her. Realizing that Yeon lost her temper, Young-shin stopped her and solved the problem more logically. Young-shin uses Jang as a hostage to intimidate Ja Gang, which ignites Ja Gang's anger. Ja Gang is surrounded by a strong source of killing intent. It threatened enemies to tremble. The soldiers came to attack Ja Gang, although he couldn't use his inner strength because it was very dangerous when Ja Gang couldn't control it. Now, Ja Gang couldn't back down no matter what it was. Ja Gang used loud outcries of key skills and destroyed all the soldiers. Yeon was impatient with Young-shin's way, so she directly fought with Ja Gang. Yeon showed Ja Gang Jaegil's true strength. Yeon attacked and injured Ja Gang. Then she mocked Ja Gang for only arrogance, and he wouldn't be able to win Yeon. Ja Gang fled after being injured. Yu-shin said that Ja Gang was looking for a way to recover, so Yeon chased Ja Gang and didn't give him a chance to recover. Yang has found Ja Gang's hiding place. She mocks Ja Gang as just a weak person trying to find a place to hide. But earlier, Ja Gang confidently said that he will destroy the Medical Sect. Yeon says that her and Ja Gang's distance is very huge. She learns the most perfect skills in the strongest sect, and Ja Gang only learns junk skills from small sects, so he can't beat Yeon. But Ja Gang doesn't think so. Ja Gang has crossed the line between life and death, and Yeon is wrapped in the most perfect development environment under the protection of the Medical Sect, and that doesn't mean Ja Gang's technique is inferior to Yeon's. Yeon attacked to finish. Ja Gang used the movement that Run-kyung had taught him to take Yeon down. He gathers up ki on the tip of his toes and passes it through his heels, through his knees, through the middle of his chest, and to his fingertips. Especially while Ja Gang is unaware, his body underwent changes, especially the meridians that had been blocked for many years. When he unblocked them, the fragments of poison started flowing through his blood veins, completely ripping his body apart. The technique Dan Run-kyung passed on to him is finger gale, which is produced by circulating ki around the body. The poison fragments that have been trapped inside his body flow through along with his inner strength and start gathering up to a single point in his body. In other words, an enhanced version of finger gale, the poison gale. After splitting the arrow bullet, Ja Gang attacked Yeon. Young-shin helped Yeon stop that attack and was seriously injured. Yeon wasn't afraid of Ja Gang's new technique because she used an antidote. However, as soon as Yeon used it, she destroyed herself. Young-shin realized the poison that Ja Gang used was a completely different type. He begged Ja Gang to forgive him and Yeon. Ja Gang laughed at the shameful action of Yoon-shin and the Medical Sect. Young-shin said that his mission was to protect Yeon rather than destroy Ja Gang. Ja Gang despises Young-shin's pleas. If Ja Gang wasn't as strong as he is now, they would definitely have destroyed him. Yet now they're asking Ja Gang for forgiveness. Young-shin fainted after begging Ja Gang to destroy him instead of Yeon. While Ja Gang was destroying them, Jang stopped Ja Gang. Ja Gang has ignored them and focused on saving Jang. He feels very guilty for causing Jang these troubles. Ja Gang is about to leave when Jang encourages him to become stronger to protect the people he loves. Ja Gang brought the antidote to Yeon. He said that the poison Yeon got was not from him, and Ja Gang would not be responsible for bringing Young-shin and Yeon back to Jaegil. After Ja Gang leaves, an assassin arrives to destroy Yan and Youngshin. Although Youngshin tries to fight to protect Yan, Youngshin is not his opponent now. As soon as the assassin decided to finish off Youngshin, Ja Gang appeared and attacked, threatening the assassin. Ja Gang threatens the assassin, stating who gave him the order, but the assassin doesn't know. He just takes orders from his superiors and executes. The assassin knew he'd still be destroyed whether he completed his task or not. He took advantage of Ja Gang's inadvertent moment and used Ja Gang's poison needle to destroy Yan. At the same time, he also destroyed himself. Youngshin collapsed after Yan passed away, and he decided to assist Ja Gang in finding the culprit behind the massacres. Youngshin said that Ja Gang's burden would be great now. Before Youngshin left, he told Ja Gang that every time he faced the Medical Sect, remember the circulation of the fish. 6 days later, Lee Bakley informs Quan that Yan passed away, and Quan is devastated after seeing Yan. Mang Ro was admiring the results he produced when Jagal Myung hurriedly walked in. Myung announced that he had everything prepared and they were preparing to go to Unnam. Myung left a map, and Ryo is shocked when he sees the Jagal clan's 9-castle 8-point formation on the map. Lee Bakley uses it to destroy Ja Gang, as Ryo does not listen to Lee Bakley's warning and arrives in Sichuan. Then Lee Bakley assigned his advisor Sim to execute this plan. From the beginning, Lee Bakley noticed the marriage of the Great Bird of Frost and the Great Pupil Bakley Quan. Now Ryo realized that his plan not only failed, but also made it easier for Lee Bakley to achieve his goal. Ryo scolded Lee Bakley even more than Ryo. Lee Bakley was angry and warned Ryo not to go beyond Lee Bakley's limit. Lee Bak still forgives Ryo because he was valuable for Lee Bakley to use. Ryo tried to convince Lee Bakley not to destroy Ja Gang. Lee Bakley wants to take over the entire world for himself. Lee Bakley warns Ryo to abandon his reckless thoughts and listen to Lee Bakley's commands, as a dog should. Then after Bakley takes control of the world, he may bestow upon Ryo a single castle. Ryo accepted Bakley's offer, but the fact that Ryo was not interested in the castle and the world like Lee Bak. Ryo was only interested in Ja Gang. Ja Gang went to Nanji village, where he had to overcome this village to continue his revenge plan. Ja Gang met Myung there. Myung used annihilation eyes and attacked Ja Gang, but Ja Gang escaped it. Myung said Ja Gang that he got an amazing amount of blood on his hands for being so young. It was with that viciousness that he took the life of Myung's niece. Myung introduced him to Yan's uncle, and he came from Jagal to serve Ja Gang's justice. After unsuccessfully acquiring about information from Ja Gang, Myung is provoked by Ja Gang. He warns Ja Gang not to be confused, but this isn't a trial nor a duel. This is an execution for Ja Gang's sins. Myung exposes Ja Gang's trap and scolds Ja Gang for being a shallow taunt, and he won't play Ja Gang's filthy game. Myung says that Ja Gang will be destroyed when he leaves Nanji village, and Ja Gang will not be able to go to Sichuan because he will be arrested and imprisoned in Jagal's prison. Run-kyun received information about Ja Gang from her subordinates, knowing that Ja Gang would be in danger after destroying Yan. But Run-kyun did not expect him to be pursued by an entire clan. Ja Gang deliberately tires the Jagal clan by letting them receive information every time Ja Gang wants to leave Nanji village, which has cost Nanji's clan a large amount of food. Jagal's clan must ask the Alliance for food assistance, and they promise that after capturing the Ja Gang, they will team up with the Alliance to destroy the lesser sects. Run-kyun knows that this is just a trap that Jagal's clan is prepared to lure her. However, Run-kyun is not worried. She also prepares her forces for the fight. Jagal's clan's forces were transporting food when they were attacked by another force, causing them to start chaosing. The leader calmed them down and prepared for battle. They quickly destroy their attackers. The leader interrogates a soldier who is behind them, but the soldier says he doesn't know. It has been 3 weeks since Ja Gang came to Nanji village. Every day, he only practices his skills and is always supervised by Jagal's clan, but Jagal's clan has not taken any action. Although this gives Ja Gang more time to practice, Ja Gang does not know what Jagal's clan is waiting for. Ja Gang is on his way when he is invited by someone to watch fortune-telling, and he is informed by the person that Jagal's clan is working on their plan. Ja Gang realizes that this person is Ryung-kyung's subordinate, and he is sent by Ryung-kyung to help Ja Gang escape Nanji's village. The person said that there would be a massacre in this village coming because of the news of Jagel's clan pursuing Ja Gang has spread everywhere, and everyone was focusing their attention on the village. If the massacre happened in the village, surely all the blame would be laid on Ja Gang. The person told Ja Gang that there was a time when chivalry and justice were widely followed in Kangho, a virtue to risk one's own life in order to fight against injustice. There was a time like that. But several decades ago, after the Martial Arts Alliance was formed, the one man became the leader. Everything changed. The current Martial Arts Alliance leader, hellhole Jinin, he chose to manipulate the different ideals and virtues of each group helps to unite the Murim, instead of excluding different thoughts and ideals. He seems to speak of the greater good, but in reality, he made the new world interpreted by gains and losers. The people followed this logic set forth by the Martial Arts Union, and slowly, as hellhole Jinin hoped, just became something you could sacrifice easily for a greater gain. Those one called righteous warriors and noble martial clans became corrupted and began to agree with that ideology as well. And the world that Ja Gang doesn't know exists anymore, it only exists in old stories. After Ja Gang learned the true story, he wanted to stay and continue to fight. He wanted to witness the world that the person said in his own eyes. Jagel's clan carried out their plan, locking the gates of the castles and beginning to destroy the villagers they saw. Ja Gang set up dynamite around the village. He activated the dynamite to create an escape route for the villagers and guide the villagers to escape. With his intelligence, Ja Gang successfully helps the villagers escape. Wuyong ordered them to change their objective from destroying the villagers to activating the battle, which they had already prepared. The head of the soldier blamed Ja Gang as the person to destroy Yan. Although Ja Gang explained, they still didn't believe him. They attacked Ja Gang, however. With the current power, Ja Gang easily destroyed them without having to worry. The leader was captured by Ja Gang. He said that even though Ja Gang destroyed him, Ja Gang was still surrounded by Jagel's clan and would soon be destroyed. Ja Gang destroyed the leader, then he attacked the soldiers from the roof. Ja Gang hid in the smoke to observe them. He was using the knowledge he learned to solve the formation to defeat them. Gang believes that this formation definitely has weaknesses because it was created by humans. He chooses to destroy each soldier and then points out what the formation has in common. Later, Ja Gang realized that the enemy was using the flute to announce his position. The 9 castles and 8 fronts formation seeks to trap the opponent in the endless circle of fear. This formation, which evolves based on the actions of the enemy, is like a changing labyrinth. The 8 entrances of this formation are not in any set spot by continually spreading and repositioning the soldiers apart according to the enemy's movements. The 8 entrances neutrally form and continue to reform elsewhere to divide, collide, and circulate. It is truly the circulation of the fish. The intricate gears of this formation can easily locate the issue if a gear stops working. The users of the formation can locate the enemy's position using this, and they slowly push the enemy to where the strongest forces of the Jagel are and destroy them there. Ja Gang disappeared in their formation. Myung was shocked when he found out Ja Gang knew about the life gate that exists within the 9 castles and 8 fronts formation. Ja Gang finally understands the formation. He discovers the Life Gate exists within the Death Gate, and the Death Gate exists within the Shadow Gate. And now, Ja Gang is inside the Life Gate, the blind spot of the formation that exists within the Death Gate. Because the formation always changes, so Ja Gang messed them up by setting traps while on the run. By reversing the formation and hiding behind the soldiers to destroy them and move, Ja Gang managed to break out of the formation. But Ja Gang confronts Quan when he comes out of the battle, and Quan comes to avenge Yan. Lee Bakley went to see Jinin. Jinin knew the plan that Lee Bakley had prepared for Jagel's clan to destroy the Ja Gang and the lesser sects. However, Jinin discovered that Lee Bakley had let his emotions take over during his quest, and Jinin reminded Lee Bakley of it. Quan was completely engulfed in rage, and despite Ja Gang's explanation, Quan still didn't care. Quan attacked Ja Gang at an extremely fast speed. Ja Gang didn't react in time, and he was injured after Quan's blow. Ja Gang received another blow from Quan. Despite trying to fight back, Ja Gang was still knocked against the wall by Quan. Quan was surprised by Ja Gang's inability because Ja Gang was much weaker than Quan thought. Even if Ja Gang had just escaped the formation with his power, Yan couldn't lose to Ja Gang. Ja Gang attacked Quan to lure him close, but Quan learned of Ja Gang's trick, so he responded with a punch. However, Kwan's hand was still wrapped by Ja Gang's chain. Ja Gang unleashed a poisonous needle toward Kwan, but Kwan quickly destroyed both the reading needle and the chain with his sword. Kwan suddenly appeared behind Ja Gang and attacked him. During the danger, Ja Gang used his technique to respond to Kwan. Although his strength increased suddenly, Ja Gang's last move didn't cause any damage to Kwan. Kwan thinks that Ja Gang is challenging him because Ja Gang has hidden his true strength when fighting Kwan, so Kwan asks Ja Gang to fight to the best of Ja Gang's ability. Lee Bakley also discovers that his disciple Kwan is in Unam to avenge Yo. Lee Bakley is furious when he learns this news because he forced Kwan to stay, and at the same time blocked all information transmitted to Kwan, but Kwan still learns. Lee Bakley immediately went to Unam, worried that when Run-kyung found out that Lee Bakley's adopted son was Unam, she would come and destroy him. Ryo came at the same time that Run-kyung arrived. He claimed that he called Kwan and stated that his purpose was Ja Gang. He wanted to work with Run-kyung and that they would both benefit. Since Ryo knows that when Run-kyung appears, Lee Bakley will definitely appear as well. Lee Bakley has given Kwan so much attention that he doesn't want Kwan to be destroyed by Run-kyung. And Ryo is sure that Run-kyung doesn't want to lose to Lee Bakley either. The battle between Ja Gang and Kwan became more and more intense, and they came to an end when both of them attacked to finish off the other. Kwan destroyed one of Ja Gang's arms, thinking it was a victory, but Ja Gang also succeeded in poisoning Kwan. Ja Gang's poison still did not make it difficult for Kwan. Kwan continued to attack Ja Gang, and with his current strength, Ja Gang couldn't dodge Kwan's attack. In a dangerous situation, Run-kyung appeared and saved Ja Gang. Ja Gang is surprised by Run-kyung's appearance. Kwan is sure that Run-kyung is on the same side as Ja Gang, both of his enemies. Kwan behaved disrespectfully towards Run-kyung, so she taught Kwan a lesson. Standing in front of Run-kyung, Kwan is just like an ant. Kwan's powerful skills in front of Run-kyung don't do any damage to her. Ryung despises Kwan as weak but very complacent, with Kwan's abilities unworthy of being her enemy. In the end, Kwan is poisoned and faints. Run-kyung looks at Ja Gang's attention as not much better. From the beginning, victory and loss have been decided. At this time, Woo-young also appears from the roof of the opposite house. He reached the last realm of killing intent. However, Woo-young is not Run-kyung's opponent. Woo-young was angry at the overbearing attitude of Run-kyung. On the contrary, Run-kyung used that to stimulate Woo-young more angry. Run-kyung warned that if Woo-young stopped her, she would crush Woo-young. Woo-young wasn't worried. He responded that Jaegel's clan soon surpassed Run-kyung, so Run-kyung was currently unable to crush him. Woo-young mentioned Lee Bakley and Run-kyung's past feud made her angry, and Run-kyung attacked Woo-young. At this time, Ryo appears and offers to help Run-kyung. Ryo says that although he is not as strong as Woo-young and Run-kyung, as long as he helps either of them, there is definitely a chance. Run-kyung doesn't need Ryo's help, though Ryo reminds Run-kyung to finish the match quickly because Woo-young is just prolonging the time to prepare the formation again. Woo-young is furious at being exposed by Ryo, and Woo-young accuses Ryo of betraying the martial arts alliance to help the evil sect. Ryo uses Kwan to intimidate Woo-young and demands that he withdraws Jaegel's clan or that Ryo will destroy Kwan. While Ryo is negotiating with Woo-young, Ja Gang plunges a poison needle into his leg. However, Ryo has long since lost a leg, so he isn't poisoned. Ja Gang is surprised that Ryo is still alive. Ryo recounts his painful process of removing toxins from his body, but his will to destroy Ja Gang helps him overcome those difficulties. Ryo said that Ja Gang was still in his control, and all he did to see Ja Gang's despair. After that, Ryo decided to take Kwan because only he could detoxify Kwan. He reminded Ryung of her purpose really just threatening Bakley. So if Kwan was still alive, it would be beneficial for her more than if he was destroyed. Ryo took Kwan to leave the scene for Run-kyung to resolve. Run-kyung also quickly ended Woo-young with an ultimate. Ryung instructed his subordinates to withdraw and brought Ja Gang to leave. Ja Gang dreamed of a nightmare, so he woke up. Now Ja Gang is at the secret base of the evil sect. Run-kyung said that he could not be alert. Despite evacuating a large number of villagers, Ja Gang still felt sorry when it came to the main village. He did everything worse. Ja Gang shared his difficulties when faced with the enemy Wang Ryo. Rung Kyung said that Ja Gang was Ryo's memory, and Ja Gang had a very special meaning to Ryo. Rung Kyung says that Ryo was the one who destroyed Ja Gang and also created his power. Ryo helps Ja Gang perfect the process of revenge and pushes Ja Gang into crisis, but Ja Gang is unaware. And Ryo's obsession with Ja Gang will hinder Ja Gang from taking revenge. And yet, the news that Ja Gang destroyed the Jaegul's clan 9 castles in 8 fronts formation, defeated the valiant Phoenix, and fought against the Silent Dragon, now people call him the Venom Dragon. In the vicinity of the Sichuan capital, Tang family establishment, Ryo brought Quan here. The man blames Ryo for bringing Quan to the Tang clan, while Lee Bakley is suspecting the Tang clan, which is very dangerous for the Tang clan. Ryo replied to the man if he wanted to study poison, he shouldn't care about it, and Ryo had contributed a lot to the Tang family, so they should be grateful to Ryo for helping them. Rung Kyun suggests that Ja Gang, with his current situation, should join the evil sect. She gives Ja Gang time to think and leave. Before leaving, Rung Kyun reminds Ja Gang he needs allies now. Ja Gang will not be strong enough to stand alone, and the Gypsy is a harsh and riotous place. After thinking about it, Ja Gang realized that he was so overwhelmed in this match that thinking about being alive was also a miracle for Ja Gang. Ja Gang meets his fortune teller in Nanji village. He is Pyeon Bak, a subordinate of Kyung Run. Pyeon looks at Le Gang's condition and guesses that he didn't escape Nanji village safely. After all, Pyeon is happy to meet Ja Gang there. He also invites Ja Gang to join the evil sect, and he calls it a gang because here people help each other live. After talking to Pyeon, Ja Gang learns that the medicine sect is the cause of the war. It was around 10 years ago. The medicine sects launched a large-scale ambush on the poison sects. Because the attack was so unexpected, the poison sects weren't able to resist and were overwhelmed. If there weren't any variables that were involved, the poison sects would have been in the medicine sect's position by now. That variable would be the Sichuan Tang's family participation in the war. The Tang family used their own secret techniques, poison arts, and strong leadership to help the poison sects that were on the losing end, and they gave them the ability to launch counterattacks against the medical sects. Due to the Tang family's involvements, which made a distinct difference in this war, the flow of the war leaned towards the poison sects. The medicine sects started to fall one by one and were either annihilated or annexed under the poison sects. The poison sects joined the Murim alliance right after that. No one was on the medicine sect's side, as they didn't want to be on bad terms with the Murim alliance. The surviving medicine sects had no one to seek help from and eventually faced their ends. Ja Gang gradually becomes disoriented after hearing the whole story about the poison sect and the medicine sect. He doesn't know what to do next. Ryo went to Tang Ha-ran. Ha-ran was concerned that Ryo keeping Ja Gang would become a threat to their plans, but Ryo explained that everything was still under his control, so Ha-ran didn't need to worry. Ryo said that Ja Gang possessed a large number of untapped skills, and that they could use that to contribute to the Tang family. And Ryo calculated that if Lee Bakley investigated the Tang family, no evidence would be discovered. Ja Gang has taken Rung Kyun's advice. He will go see the world and put aside his revenge. He's going to go and validate what he knows about the world. Ja Gang is set off after saying goodbye to everyone in the evil sect. Lee Bakley found Ryo. Bakley, without thinking, rushed to beat Ryo. Ryo just blamed Bakley for being impatient, and Bakley attacked Ryo again. Ryo had just counterattacked Bakley when he discovers that Bakley has disappeared. Then, from behind Ryo, Bakley appears and strikes a blow that engulfs Ryo underground. Not stopping there, Bakley continues to attack Ryo. Bakley asks Ryo where he hid Quan, and Ryo explains that he took Quan to the Tang family to save him. Because the poison that Quan contracted, Ryo can't be cured. Bakley is even angrier because he knows that everything was caused by Ryo. It was Ryo who lured Quan to Unnam, and it was Ryo who let Rung Kyung go. Bakley wants to destroy Ryo. Ryo has asked Bakley if he will destroy Rung Kyung himself, and he is sure of that. Having just left the evil sect, Ja Gang was supervised by someone else. They were Sichuan's Grade 3. They are the Tang family, the Amei sect, and the King Chen sect. They have grown their power by barely maintaining the balance between the three of them. And Ja Gang, who had caused a lot of stir in the Gypsy recently, is definitely not welcome in Sichuan. They will probe Ja Gang's every move. Half a day earlier, Sichuan, Mount King Chen Sect, Bak Chan called Unjan to tell him some things about the Venom Dragon. Then Bak Chan assigned Unjan the task of supervising Ja Gang while Ja Gang was in Sichuan. Unjan pondered the task and pondered why Bak Chan had given him such an easy task. But as soon as Unjan collected the poison left behind by Ja Gang, he lost track of Ja Gang. Unjan panicked and quickly left to find Ja Gang. After Unjan left, Ja Gang left his hiding place and continued on his way. Ja Gang went to an end in Sichuan. He didn't plan ahead, so Ja Gang didn't know where to go next. Thinking about it, suddenly Unjan's voice sounded. Unjan searched all the villages in his range to find Ja Gang, which made Ja Gang admire. Unjan asked permission to sit at the table with Ja Gang, seeing that Unjan was hungry, so Ja Gang gave his meal to Unjan. Later, Unjan introduced himself and his purpose to Ja Gang. Ja Gang was surprised that Unjan had revealed important information to people he didn't know were friends or foes. While Unjan starts eating, Ja Gang reminds him that the food is poisonous. Unjan is scared and thinks that Ja Gang is joking, but Ja Gang is serious, and Ja Gang mistakenly thinks that even Unjan knows that the food is poisonous. More importantly, this poison was not done by Ja Gang, but by the people at the table opposite them, the people of the Tang family. He introduces himself as Tang Risham, Tang family, but even so, Risham angers Unjan because he used poison in the area controlled by the King Cheng sect and the Amei sect. Realizing that the situation isn't right, Ja Gang leaves. Risham gets angry and attacks Ja Gang because he thinks Ja Gang has insulted him. Unjan stops Risham's attack and threatened him. Risham's behavior was insulting the King Chen sect, so Unjan wouldn't spare Risham. And Unjan returned the attack to Risham. Risham's teammates quickly stopped Unjan's attack. Before Ja Gang leaves, Risham warns Ja Gang not to appear in Sichuan again, otherwise he will not spare Ja Gang. Unjan chases after Ja Gang. He wants to go with Ja Gang to supervise Ja Gang. Otherwise, Unjan will be punished by his master is trained with the wall for another year, which is terrible for Unjan. Ja Gang wonders if Unjan deliberately played innocently or if he was inherently like that. Because Ja Gang was known to be the Venom Dragon, but when Unjan went beside Ja Gang, he was very relaxed and had no fear at all. Unjan said that because he had the King Cheng sect to protect him, he didn't feel worried at all, which made Ja Gang jealous of Unjan. Unjan even thought that Ja Gang was worried about him, so Unjan was very touched. South of Guanji, Gilan, Mount Loahan, Runkyun appeared. Rio waited for Runkyun for a while. He brought Quan with him and made Quan faint before arriving, just waiting for Runkyun to wake Quan. Runkyun didn't bring Ja Gang as agreed. She announced that she would come and rob Quan. Not only is Rio not angry, but he generously hands Quan over to Runkyun, and despite his suspicions, Runkyun still wakes Quan up. Just as Runkyun predicts this is Rio's dirty trap, when Runkyun awakens Quan, Rio attacks Runkyun and creates an explosion with poisonous arrows. Runkyun's comrades rushed forward to assist her, but were surrounded by Jagel's clan troops. Rio continues to attack Runkyun directly. She finds that Rio suddenly gets stronger. He has wreaked havoc on his body and done everything to destroy Ja Gang, which is Rio's motivation. After that, Rio and Quan simultaneously attacked Runkyun, making Runkyun unable to dodge. The current situation is extremely dangerous. Runkyun lost an arm and was poisoned by Rio, and she is currently unable to use magic if she doesn't want to endanger her life. Runkyun's subordinates sensed that her strength was weakening, and they quickly managed to come to Runkyun's aid. Quan, after removing one of Runkyun's arms, runs out of energy and loses consciousness. Rio insults Runkyun now looks pathetic. He urges Runkyun to give up. Bakley will probably consider the situation and forgive her. Runkyun is angry. She is summoning strength to fight Rio even if she has to sacrifice her life. Runkyun's subordinates show up in time to stop Runkyun. He wanted Runkyun to live because there were so many people who needed her help. After that, they jumped into the sea and escaped. In Sichuan, Ja Gang is annoyed by Unjan asking him stupid questions. Ja Gang, after learning that the evil sect was about to be destroyed, quickly returned. Eunjan didn't want Ja Gang to leave, but before he could stop Ja Gang threw a bag of poisonous powder at Eunjan, causing him to be stunned. Ja Gang instructs Eunjan when he returns to drink the ingredients Ja Gang mentioned, and then he leaves. Out of the way, Eunjan used a bell to overpower Ja Gang. Eunjan didn't want Ja Gang to leave because then a lot of people would be destroyed. But in Ja Gang's eyes, if he doesn't come, the people of the evil sect will also be destroyed. Hearing Eunjan say that they should be destroyed because they are evil, the fire of anger inside Ja Gang revolts. For Ja Gang, the people of the evil sect are more important than anyone in this world. Ja Gang used the snake's poison to destroy the bell, so Eunjan decided to use a stronger method. At this time, 2 members of the Tang family also came to fight Ja Gang. They didn't serve the last game at the end, so they wanted to fight again. Risham and Haran were shocked to see Ja Gang eating the blood-purifying viper. It's a mythical animal. Even martial masters would die from their blood boiling from within after being bitten by it. But for those who have mastered poisonous arts, it's the best elixir. However, Eunjan didn't want them to interfere in this fight because it belonged to the King Chang sect. Haran agrees and she offers to speak kindly to Ja Gang. Then Haran tells Ja Gang she will help Ja Gang keep Eunjan. In return, Ja Gang will owe her a favor. Finally, after a while, Eunjan agrees with Haran. He only follows Ja Gang and doesn't bother Ja Gang. It has been 2 hours since Ja Gang left and he has been running non-stop. Even if it wasn't for Haran's announcement, Ja Gang was running desperately. Ja Gang doesn't know where that huge motivation came from. He just knows that if he misses, he will never get a second time. Eunjan gave Ja Gang a hand, and he wanted to carry Ja Gang to move so he would go faster. Rung-kyun and her subordinates made it back to the base. They faint in front of the base door and are cared for by members of the guild after discovering them. Rung-kyun told everything. It seemed that they didn't want to hand over Kwon from the beginning. Jaegel's clan had ambushed there before, and Kwon was on the same side as Mang Ryo. Rung-kyun feels guilty because she didn't anticipate this happening. Her comrades were furious after hearing this. They wanted to start a war and attack the Jaegel hordes, but couldn't because doing so was rash and dangerous. Rung-kyun wants to pack up and leave, and she will stay there to buy their time. But none of them agree because they want to sacrifice their best for Rung-kyun. Rung-kyun was touched by these loyal teammates. Baekli went to Jinin and brought one of Ryung-kyung's arms. However, Jinin was disappointed that Baekli could only bring back one arm and not a person. Jinin said he was very interested in Ryo's plans, and he went to meet Ryo so Baekli has not destroyed him. Masabul and Mei's sect also joined the Murim Alliance to destroy the evil sect. Although he changed his name to Myo Wol and was a Buddhist practitioner, what Myo Wol did was contrary to his beliefs. Rung-kyung exposes Myo Wol as a Buddhist, but he is still in this fight because he still wants to slaughter others. Myo Wol still shamelessly justifies himself that what he is doing is just destroying evil and bringing justice to others as the direction of Buddhism. Rung-kyung warns that what Myo Wol is doing is breaking the pact of the Sichuan Grade 3 and bringing about the carnage. Myo Wol says that he is just an observer. As long as Rung-kyung doesn't use a fatal blow against the leader of the Nanchuan Guild, Myo Wol won't participate. Myo angered Rung-kyung. He laughed wickedly and informed the Nanchuan clan leader not to worry about Rung-kyung. A fight broke out. The enemy discovered the shelter of those who were incapable of fighting in the guild. Rung-kyung couldn't longer stand still and watch her comrades being destroyed. She had to overcome Myo Wol to rescue her teammates. With overwhelming speed, Myo Wol injured Rung-kyung in the first blow. So-so was wounded trying to save another teammate, one of whom saw So-so being beaten and stood up to fight, but because they were weak women, they were easily destroyed by the enemy. Rung-kyung communicates to Pyeon so that he can save those who are unable to fight, but Pyeon is now trapped by the leader of the Nanchuan Guild. Rung-kyung is reminded by Myo Wol to pay attention to the match. She pulls all her strength in delivering the decisive blow to Myo Wol, but because her body is still poisoned, she cannot use magic. Myo Wol is finishing off Rung-kyung when Ja Gang appears to save her. Ja Gang sees his wrong direction because he is so focused on revenge that Ja Gang forgets to be grateful and protect those around him. Ja Gang vows to eradicate brutal people masquerading as justice, and the Nanchuan clan is one of them. The leader of the Nanchuan clan was also easily dealt with by Ja Gang. The others also had not much better results. They finally realized that Ja Gang was the Venom dragon. Myo-Wool's eyes flashed when he saw Ja Gang, and he changed his battle target from Rung-kyung to Ja Gang. Myo-Wool was out of control. The others fled in fear when they saw him go crazy and massacre the others. Eunjan appeared. He reminded one of the 5 precepts not to kill, which was the precept that Myo-Wool ignored. Eunjan was very upset that Ja Gang sneaked away while he was resting and make him chase after Ja Gang. Eunjan was shocked when he saw the scene in front of him. They borrowed the name of justice to destroy evil, but they ruthlessly destroyed even the unarmed. Moreover, Myo-Wool was originally a Buddhist monk. He was only allowed to observe, but he directly participated in the match and destroyed innocent people. Eunjan was very angry, and that was still Myo-Wool, 5 laws in Buddhism. Myo-Wool warns Eunjan not to care about this if he doesn't want to be implicated. But Eunjan still wants to save the situation, so Myo-Wool overpowers Eunjan with his spirit power. Ja Gang tries to attack Myo-Wool but fails. Myo-Wool can see through Ja Gang's attacks. Despite using all the power in his body, Ja Gang couldn't even stop Myo-Wool's attack. Ja Gang used poison powder to slow down Myo-Wool, and he discovered that Myo-Wool's sword couldn't cut off non-lethal objects. Ja Gang was about to strike the decisive blow when Myo-Wool inhaled the poisonous powder when he was knocked unconscious by Myo-Wool. Eunjan is worried when he sees Ja Gang seriously injured. Ja Gang tells Eunjan to leave. He will hold off Myo-Wool so that Eunjan can escape. Ja Gang tells Eunjan that numbers can't decide who's truly right or wrong, and he also tells Eunjan that there are fights in the world that you can't simply back down from. Myo-Wool noticed their sound. He continued to attack Ja Gang. Eunjan decided not to run away, but stayed behind to fight with Ja Gang. Ja Gang couldn't dodge Myo-Wool's attack, so he was slashed and wounded. Myo-Wool had no intention of stopping. He continued to slash more times toward Ja Gang. As soon as Myo-Wool's sword touched Ja Gang's body, Eunjan promptly attacked Myo-Wool with sound, which worked, and Myo-Wool was stunned to hear the sound Eunjan made. But Myo-Wool destroyed his own eardrums to nullify Eunjan's move. Later, Myo-Wool moved to attack on Eunjan. He was injured by Myo-Wool's attacks. While Ja Gang is desperate and thinks it over, Rung-kyung transmits the sound to Ja Gang. She asked him to use the healing knitting, after which she will show Ja Gang one last move. Ja Gang appears in a strange place where an abundance of power gathers, and he must solve the puzzle to achieve that power. He had to find a way to get to the Emperor's residence. Ja Gang spotted a glowing gem, and it contained a tremendous amount of power. This is the decision of the pure internal energy that has been part of him. The Pure asks Ja Gang where was he told to gather, and he answers 7 Jade Treasure Room. The 3 locations of Danchin in a person are Upper Danchin, Middle Danchin, and Lower Danchin. Out of the 3, the one that connects humans to the universe. Ja Gang guesses is the Upper Danchin Bahui acupuncture point. But Ja Gang was wrong. The 7 Jade Treasure Room is where the Emperor's banquet is held. It's not where he resides, so Ja Gang chose the Middle Danchin and is correct. Ja Gang unleashed a new source of power. He was much stronger, and now Ja Gang could feel the billowing energy running through his body. Ja Gang delivered a finishing blow towards Myo-Wool. He was very confident with his sword until the poisonous needle that Ja Gang unleashed pierced the sword and stuck in his eye. The situation has changed. The allies of the evil sect have come to their aid. Myo-Wool also decides to run away, and he will return to take revenge in the next battle. The battle is finally over. The enemy laid down his arms and surrendered. Rung-kyung ordered forgiveness for those who didn't know, not guilty, and those who destroyed others be punished. Rung-kyung is grateful to Ja Gang because he helped people extend their time and helped everyone survive. Even so, Ja Gang felt very guilty because he couldn't save everyone. Rung-kyung comforts Ja Gang. After all, he has helped a lot of people get on with their lives. And when they all choose to go on this path, they have to accept facing such situations. After that, they quickly tidied up their things to leave Sichuan. On this journey, Ja Gang also decided to accompany them. It has been around 10 hours since they left, but they haven't met any enemies yet. Fortune must be smiling on them. Yan teases that Eunjan has become friends with the Venom Dragon, and he even fought Myo Wool, thus qualifying his sect to expel him. Eunjan was frightened by the terrifying punishment Pian said, because he just thought that his master only punished Eunjan trained with the wall for a year. On the cliff, Medical Sect's disciples were getting ready to wait for the ride to have the Venom Dragon and Yu Hua. When they were about to attack when from behind them, a figure appeared that is Taoist Bak Chun. The people of the Medical Sect want to take Bak Chun's disciple to the Medical Sect after rescuing him because they think Eunjan is connected to the evil sect, and they need to deal with that. Bak Chun reprimanded them not only for acting out of worldly desires by stepping in, but they also push the blame onto other sects. Bak Chun exposes the evil things the Medical Sect has done and warns them if they chase the carriage, he will not spare them. At the Tang clan court's inner court, Ryo went to see Tang Chung, the head of the Tang family, who also controlled Muram's activities. What are Ryo and Tang family's plans next? What challenges will Ja Gang face next? Let's watch the interesting content of the next episode by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And don't forget to leave your thoughts below. See you soon.